here's the thing. They're going to be disasters. We can do some mitigation of those disasters, but the other thing that we can do is get ready for the ones that are coming. And we can do that as people of faith. All through the Gospel of Luke, Jesus is teaching people about what it means to be the people of faith, preparing them, sinking them into the Word of God, but also encouraging them to use their gifts, their God-given gifts, to love and care for each other and to be ready for those moments when love will be abundantly in need. In our community, we were so grateful for the people who did the work of preparation, who learned how to safely use chainsaws so that they could be ready if there was a tornado or some other disaster that took down so many trees. Their preparation made a huge difference in our lives. So we'll listen to those stories of those people who have done that work of preparation, and we'll encourage you to think about what gifts you have that you can give to be ready to help people in any kind of disaster that might come their way.
The training that we have received is pretty far-reaching. Our initial training as early response team members was about 5 or 6 years ago. But most of the training really for this kind of job happens on the job. You go to your first deployment for a hurricane, you go out and assist people after a flood or a tornado, and that's where you really learn what you're doing.
And it takes lots of the skills to do some of the stuff. Most of the stuff that we do, it is just common sense about doing the things.
The lady who brought us water, because we started moving just a few days after that, she showed up again with a moving kit and said, use this tape to show what's important boxes that you need to open first. Here's magic markers for you to write, and you write on 3 sides what room these are going to so that when they're stacked up, you can see it. And we hadn't moved in 25 years. We'd been in that house.
She's moved a lot.
She's moved a lot. She just knew what to do.
She also took a lot of our laundry because
Yes.
Once we could get into our closet, we had to wash all the bedding that was like in closets, all of our clothes, every single stitch of every article of clothing and bedding, towels, all had to be washed. We spent a lot of time at the laundromat, but she came and took like 5 loads of laundry, just 2 huge garbage bags, and said, I'll do it. I'll do this. You take care of whatever else you have, but I'll do this laundry.
And we didn't ask her. We just said, well, we're getting ready to do some laundry. And she's like, nope, I'm doing it, and took it.
Yeah, really just the reaction of the congregation. I've had lots of people thank me for my enthusiasm and encouragement along this journey. And the only thing I can say back is it's easy to be enthusiastic and positive and upbeat about everything that's happening when everyone is leaning into that. We didn't have people knocking on the door saying, we've got to get back in the sanctuary right now, or we've got to do this, or we've got to do this, or we've got to do this. We had people navigating everything with immense grace. Even when we knew we were going to be starting off and spending most of Advent in the fellowship hall, it was really intriguing because we've got a layperson who the last several years has led the efforts to hang the greens here in the sanctuary. She's got a phenomenal eye for decorating. And when we knew we were going to kick off Advent in the fellowship hall, I asked her, hey, we need ideas for what that can look like, and I want you to come up with whatever you can come up with. And her eyes lit up at the opportunity. It wasn't, oh, I'm so upset that we're not going to be in the sanctuary. It was, oh, this is fun. Let's come up with something that will turn a space that we have never really used for that into a place where we can experience the magic of Advent together. And that can do wonders for a person's faith, to see people leaning into positivity and into love and to care for the community, all those sorts of things. So it was just, I got to see again and again and again people embodying all those characteristics of Jesus that we long to embody: care, compassion, love, understanding, hope. That was the path we were on. and still are on. I mean, even with all this in the room, the conversations haven't been, oh, how terrible is it that looks like that. The conversations have been how good it is to be back, how wonderful it is to be in this space together again.
The response of the community and the extended community almost immediately was almost overwhelming. And that's when, when you look back and say, how could you be better prepared? This would be one of the areas where we could be better prepared. Was we had so many organizations the very next day, and this is in Memorial Day weekend, by the way, were reaching out to help. Or even when I was touring around, I was amazed at neighbors just coming together, divvying up chainsaws and getting out there. So there was a real immediate outpouring of support in this community that was really amazing. And I think we live in a special community. You kind of hear that after every disaster, though, right? Everybody thinks they live in a special community. That's actually a really good thing. I mean, I think it makes you feel really good about humanity. What you're seeing now in Los Angeles, for example, you're seeing an incredible outpouring for the folks that just went through their Los Angeles disaster. We had that here, and that was really one of the most gratifying things as that week went on, was the offers of assistance. Really, our challenge became, how do we best deploy that assistance the most efficient way? We have an emergency operations plan, and I will tell you, I have very good people who work here at Benton County, and the mayors who I work with have very good people on their teams as well. Frankly, they train us. Without them, I wouldn't have the slightest idea how to react to a disaster like this. But they are nationally trained and accredited, but they also do tabletop exercises. They also learn from what's happened in other areas. They're very networked. What was also amazing, very interesting, is that when a disaster hit here, how many emergency operations people will just say, we're ready to help out from around the state. The training could be very broad in disaster management or very specific in our, for example, our road crew is entirely trained up, as is the sheriff's department, on how to use chainsaws on trees to clear roads in the dark when there could be active power lines. I mean, there's that kind of training that's really important, right on down to, is that the tree that I want to take off that road right now, or do I need to wait for the utility company? So there's actually a lot of training that kicks in. And I would say, from the standpoint of the first 48 hours of the disaster, I was amazed at our emergency response across all of the agencies in the county, whether they're Benton County agencies or city agencies. One of the things that we're working on here in Benton County is we're doing a lot of after-action meetings and reports. In fact, we've got a grant from the Walton Family Foundation to help us with understanding best practices in recovery. We're going to benchmark around the country with that and hopefully be better prepared on the recovery piece. Not that first 48-hour piece, but that 30, 60, 90-day piece afterwards. We could certainly do a better job there. We hadn't gone through this before. We learned a lot. And unfortunately, going through it once makes you a lot better prepared for going through it again, if and when that should happen again.
On the personal side, I have a bag packed, so the next time any time in the future there's a tornado warning, I'll already have to take my bag and go down to the basement and be prepared. So I'm very prepared from a personal perspective going forward.
The faith-based organizations and their reaction, I guess, I don't know if benevolent is the right word, but they just acted. It didn't matter. I mean, what neighborhood, who was in need, somebody's race or color, ethnicity, their religion. A lot of religious organizations kicked in right away. And that's one of the things that we're going to do a better job of in Benton County, is understanding their capabilities beforehand, because we sure learned about their capabilities afterwards. And that's all rooted and founded in their faith. And that was very heartfelt to see, because without that, that was really the safety net for a lot of people, is how our faith-based community reacted. Whether Christian, Jewish, Muslim, they all reacted. Everybody did. And it was incredible to see.
And also volunteers. It's just get out and volunteer, be ready to help, go to the training, get certified, because you can't help us unless you have a badge. You have to be certified before you can do any volunteer work for us.
And it's lovely to want to help. But,
Yes.
we have a saying in the disaster field, you don't want any SUVs. That's a spontaneous, unaffiliated volunteer, someone who shows up and says, put me to work. But you have to know people know what they're doing and that they can be trusted. Certification to become an early response team volunteer is a one-day class with a background check. And after that, when all the tests are taken and you've passed, then you get a badge and you're able to go, and that badge is good for 3 years. And after that, then you can get a recertification. Some misconceptions about disasters and how folks can help. Volunteers may think, well, I don't know how to hold a hammer. I don't know how to use a chainsaw. Well, the truth is, I don't use a chainsaw. Roy uses a chainsaw, but I can be very helpful. I can drag the limbs that he cuts and put them by the sidewalk. I can stay at home and not go anywhere and donate to UMCOR or to the Arkansas United Methodist Church's disaster response. I can pray. I can pray for those who are not only impacted as a survivor of a disaster, but the volunteers who are going to go out and risk their life and health and safety, but also take a week out of their lives to go and help. There's a lot people can do.
And don't let age stop you.